In the era of pandemics and of course stay at home and socially distancing, I'm going to bring you something bright. This is the Toyota CHR and it's a 2020 edition, so they've updated lots of little bits on the outside of it. They've updated lots of little bits on the inside of it, so we're going to go through each one of those right now. Right, the first thing we have to do with this car is to have a look at the outside because that's where most of the changes are. So I have my trusty little Sony cam. We start going around, so over to my Sony. This is now the front of the car. As you can see, everything's been sort of lifted up. Even the spot lamps, even these little spot lamps things have moved up along. Now I'll try and show you overlay pictures of what the front of the previous one looks like so you can actually see it. At the top here, they've changed where the indicators are as well, as you can see. They flash there, make them a little bit different in the spot there, which is quite nice. The mirrors fold away on the side as well. I like that overall look. I think it's quite sporty looking in its own sort of unique way. It's not sporty to drive. We'll get to the drive bit after. On the side, this one has black alloys. This is a special edition one. You can have that. And you've got the two-tone roof, which really sets it aside. You can see the line here where this actually changes from two-tone one to the other. And then around the back here, they have put in the LED lights, which are, you see they're strip lights like that. So I'll get a bit closer to that and you can see them do their thing. They go across like that. There you go. Not nice? I like that. It does look like they were going to put some fake exhaust down the bottom here, these two silver patches, but they're not. They just seem to lose a bit of confidence in that there and just stop doing it. I don't know if they're supposed to be fake exhaust or not. Boot space. See, it has a reversing camera underneath here as well, this one here. So boot space is tight enough. Hopefully that white balance will come up there quite nice. It's enough. It's not big. It's not a big boot by any means, but it's big enough for what you wanted to do. And underneath then you get a tool kit and bits and pieces underneath. There's some storage under there too, as you can see. This one has a JBL speaker in it. There's a top spec one in it as well. So you got a boom box in the boot. But I do like that space underneath there, that's pretty good. Now, coming back around the side of it again, I'll just step away and give you a look at the kind of side profile of the entire car. It is quite nice. I mean, you'd be happy with that. I wouldn't be sad if I bought that and it was sitting outside the front door, looks-wise. And I'm very into the looks of a car. I think the looks of a car is like 80% of happy ownership. And I think from a looks point of view, I think it's got it. I think it's got it nicely too. Today's lighting will be called difficult. And the sun is blazing out of the sky, which causes gigantic shadows in here. But on the flip side of that, the interior of this car is very dark. So if you like a light, airy cabin, this is definitely not a car for you. Front seat isn't too bad. We'll get to the back seat in a minute, but it's fairly dark back there. But in here, what has changed? Nothing really. So they've still got the buttons for the air conditioning system up here, and they're proper buttons that are there as well. They still have the EV mode and stuff down here. The gear stick is still in the same place. Nothing else has really changed around the place, but one thing they have added to the car, which I don't know why it took so bloody long to do it in the first place, is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They're both supported in the car from this model onwards for sure. There is some compatibility issues with the models, the outgoing models or the previous models to it. There's nothing particularly wrong with the Toyota system. I find it's fine. It works for me. But Apple CarPlay, Android Auto just makes life easy peasy. From a practicality and space point of view, it's actually really practical in here. You got a big cup holder in here. You got another big cup holder in front. I don't know why they didn't put the two of them together. And then you have a nice little cubby hole in here with a 12-volt socket. USB port is up the front, which conducts your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto straight up and down. Nice bins in the door pocket. The plastic is a little bit flimsy towards the bottom. I'd expect that in the car, kind of in this price range or in this range of cars. I wouldn't expect this to be a perfectly luxury interior. But up here, stuff you touch, 100%. I don't have a problem with any of that. The glove box in here is nearly hidden into the bottom. It's quite small, but you will fit gloves in there, but you will fit a bottle of something in there really handy enough. And seating position is okay. You're quite tall in the seat. You can get it down low enough, like I can go lower than that. That's as low as the seat goes now, and I can just about fit a fist between me and the roof. So if you're over 6 foot, I'm 6'1". So if you're over that, if you're anywhere like 6'5", you're going to struggle to get into this car at all. It's pretty low roofline stuff. I do like this little kind of, I suppose, triangular carbon fiber look or something. It's quite nice on the door pockets, and there's a texture to it as well, and it's reflected into the roof liner as well. It's all quite nice, very pleasant, very comfortable place to sit, very nice, bit tight and a bit dark. Right, back seat, rock on Tommy. So the back seat is where it all sort of falls apart, for me anyway. That seat is set for me. There is space, but I'm not actually sure you can see me on either of those cameras, because once I close this door, it turns black in here. Now there's nothing back here for anyone to do. There's no center armrest. There's no 12-volt sockets. There's no USB ports back here for the back passengers. There's a couple of little back pockets in the seats, cup holders in the doors. There's no bins in the doors, nothing. Speakers in there instead. Once I close the door, black. It's very dark back here, and the seat is huge in front of me. So even looking out, I have to do that to look around the size of the headrest. So it does feel nearly claustrophobic. You will just about fit 3 people back here, and I say just about. I really think you'd have to be 3 fairly slim, skinny, narrow-hipped people to fit into the back of the seat. But other than that, it's okay. Biggest bugbear I have is the shape of this window at the back here. You just can't see out. And if you're shoulder to shoulder with someone, your head is going into that roof line. It's not very big back here. Really, if you're looking for a family car and you have teenagers and above, this is going to be an issue. Anyway, we've looked at the boot, so let's crack on with a drive, right? Right, well, starting this up is an uneventful thing. That's it. I like electric things, so. It's got a 2-litre petrol diesel. Wow, I nearly said diesel. I would have been, dragged out of the car and shot for saying the word diesel these days. But it's not diesel, it's petroleum. There's a 2-litre petrol engine in this one. 190 horsepower, give or take. That's kind of where it is. There is also a smaller 1.8-litre engine. I would suggest you would go with the 2-litre petrol, because you're going to get better cruising ability and you're going to get a lot more horsepower as well, if you ever fancy actually going very far or doing very much. When of course this pandemic lifts and we can actually go a bit further than the shops like. So to drive, it's actually not bad. It's quite a pleasant little cabin to be in for the driver, because you just don't notice how dark it is because you're looking out the front the whole time. But when you're trundling along as a passenger, particularly in the back, it does feel very claustrophobic. That's okay. Handling wise, I find it quite flat and numb. It's okay. It turns in on the corners. It's not rolling about the place like a lot of these small SUVs do. A lot of them actually do roll all over the place when they're driving. But this one's actually quite flat and nice. The 2-litre petrol engine, 190 horsepower, coupled to the hybrid system. When you put your foot down, there's a noise. It's probably not the best noise in the world, but it's not designed for that. It's better than the 1.8. It doesn't quite sound so hollow and tinny as the 1.8, but the CVT gearbox does keep the revs turned full. So it's not, how do you explain it, even people don't understand it, but when it comes to a CVT gearbox, imagine there isn't a gearbox. Imagine the gearbox is capable of changing gears without actually changing gears. Like the Matrix, the gear just appears there. So what it's able to do is maintain a constant velocity transmission. So it's constant at the one speed, so you get that weird where the revs rise and just stay there. You don't hear that gear change like you expect from a lot of other cars. Mildly annoying. I've become sort of immune to it in my own way. Toyota customers don't seem to complain about it, so I'm not really going to complain too much about it either. It's not a pleasant noise. It's a noise though, so it's fine. Now, thinking about Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and that sort of stuff, it's pretty good. It's actually pretty good, right? You just click your Apple CarPlay button when it doesn't hook up directly, and then you're presented with Apple CarPlay in the screen in front of you. It works absolutely fine. It's a perfect touch screen. everything is where I want it to be, but actually the Toyota system isn't that bad. In Ireland, the Toyota CHR starts at €30,620 for the 5-door Luna. Sport is 32,000, Luna Sport is 34,000. Sol is where it gets really interesting, about €35,500. The one you've seen in the video with the black alloys and a two-tone roof will be €39,115. And basically you're going to get everything you want to get in that car, plus a lot more. If you're in the UK, quick mention here, the prices start at £29,225 for the entry-level model and scale their way up from there to the launch edition, around the same sort of money actually. So it's not the most affordable Toyota ever built. I wouldn't have expected it as much. This is like their bread and butter car now. You know, the 3-box saloon, the estate, the kind of hatchback sales, they're not doing as well, even remotely as well as these small SUVs are. You see, where Toyota kind of win on this is being able to say you can go as far as you want, and when you want to go further you put more petrol in. It's really that straightforward. And it may seem like, well sure, you can do it all on an electric car these days, and yes you can for sure, but a lot of people aren't confident with it yet, with full electric. They're not confident in what it's capable of doing, and they really don't want what they would see as a hassle for having to go from place to place and worry whether there's a charge point or not a charge point or so on, okay? This is just like normal petrol diesel powered car, except for it's got a hybrid engine attached to it as well. Now, if you really want to do the eco-friendly and you really are not quite into the electric car brand yet, but you want something similar, this actually has an EV mode. So EV mode, at certain speeds you can engage it so the car will completely run on electricity. So it's going to use that little battery back there to go as far as it possibly can on electricity. When it's fully charged, it'll do it for a while. I'm letting it charge up right now, so I'm just going to flick the home button on here. I can see the battery is half full or so, but I'm going down a hill here, so I'm doing nothing now. I'm not using any engine now, nothing. I am recouping entirely all of the electricity in that battery. The engine has switched off, the revs have gone to zero. So you can see there that the rev counter thing that would be called a rev counter has gone now to charge, and it's going to go further to charge. So as I touch the brakes, it's charging from this moment. And there it is, supplying power back to the wheels and supplying power back to the battery. Now, for the next few seconds, I'm going to run in EV mode. So I've engaged EV mode. It comes up on the screen down here to say you're ready. Now I'm going to run entirely as an EV, electric powered. I am no longer a self-charging hybrid. I am now an electric car. So here I go, look, there I am. No engine now has cut in, there's nothing happening. All this energy is coming from the battery. I'm as close as I can be to an electric car without actually having a plug-in charge point at the front of the car and a big battery underneath. The security in my head means that I'm able to continue driving. When this battery drains, and it will drain fast in EV mode, but if you are stuck in traffic going through a city or going through a town and you really wanted to save some petrol, you got it, man. This is it. Battery power all the way. Still on battery now. Oh, there it is. EV mode deactivated because I pressed too hard on the accelerator, I suppose, or the speed has become too high. Often when you get to a higher speed, so once you get out onto the road and start driving, it won't maintain that EV charge. If I was to sum it up, I would say that the CHR is without doubt the prettiest of these little small SUVs you can get. Interior is the letdown. It's very dark in here, and that back seat largely has nothing for the backseat passengers to do. Driving, fine. Fuel economy, great. I have no problem with any of that sort of stuff. I've done 248 kilometers in this and I barely moved off the full mark. If you're driving around town, nothing else except an electric car beats this. So I would have no problem recommending the CHR to anyone out there who's interested in one of these kind of cars. Go for it. Now, thank you very much for watching. You're very good to watch this far into the video. Every Sunday I do a thing called a Sunday Service, which is a 2-hour live stream that I host and you guys provide the question for. 4,000 or 5,000 people watch it every Sunday. It's good crack. It's like a radio show, only you can instantly interact with the radio host the whole time and there's no music. It's good fun. You can join in on that one. There's a list of links and supports down below for more documentary style stuff, which is more documentaries on the way. I'm already filming 3 are in pre-production at the moment, so there's loads more of those to come. So I'd really love your support on that. Anything you can give, and if you can't afford it, forget about it, just subscribe. That's it. That's all you really have to do. It's your only job today is to hit the subscribe button. If you want to check out the links, if you're going to buy something from Amazon, there's affiliate links down there as well. Whatever you need, it can be done. So thank you very much for watching. My patrons get a live Zoom call with me every once in a while as well. So if you're interested in Patreon, if you're paying at any level, you will get the Zoom call, which is a bit of fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching again. Hopefully you've hit the subscribe button and you learned all you need to know about the CHR. And I hope that you will join me for another video along the way as well. But until the next time, I will see you on the far side.